Okay, so today we'll be looking at Sociology Unit 1, Paper 1 for May June 2021. So let us begin. Number 1. Which of the following is used to argue that sociology is a science? A. It is concerned with observable and deductive methods of investigation. B. It can produce interpretive understanding using in-depth methods. C. It relies heavily on observation in an uncontrolled environment. Or D. It is an ideological approach to investigating social life. Alright, so the answer is A. A subculture can best be defined as a group that A. whose cultural traits have been assimilated into modern society, B. which has norms and values that differ from those of the mainstream society, C. which has certain cultural traits that are inferior to those of the wider society, or D. which is located within the substructure of society and is therefore exploited and oppressed. Alright, so the answer is B. So we know that subculture has norms and values that differ from the mainstream society. 3. Similar practices that are found in most societies are called A. Syncretism, B. Value consensus, C. Cultural universals, or D. Cultural adaptations. The answer is cultural universals. Number 4. Many young people in the Caribbean have adopted the lifestyles of their counterparts in North America. This could be an example of cultural diffusion. Number 5. Cultural patterns that strongly oppose the established norms of the dominant culture within a society is called a subculture, a counterculture, sorry. So they strongly oppose those of the dominant culture. Number 6, which of the following theories subscribes to the view that a shared culture is necessary if a society is to run smoothly? Remember that Durkheim would have believed that everything in society worked together. So the answer for this is Durkheim. According to Parsons, which of the following situations provides a basis for the maintenance of order in society? A. Submitting to the authority of a ruler. B. People subscribing to a value consensus system. People entering into social contracts with each other are members of society being constrained by social facts. Right? 7 is B. Number 8. Which of the following features of Caribbean society are outlined in N.G. Smith Plural Society Model? 1. Society is characterized by cultural differentiation. 2. High levels of social mobility by all groups. Or 3. Limited access to political and economic institutions by the lower strata. Alright, so we know that 1 and 3 would be the most suitable answer because in MG's plural society, the lower class doesn't move up easily. In fact, there is minimal social mobility. So therefore, it would be 1 and 3, which is B. The maintenance of a group's unique cultural forms and characteristics in a diverse society is called A. Syncretism, B. Creolization, C. Ethnocentrism, or D. Cultural pluralism. And 9 is cultural pluralism. According to the Marxist perspective, the power of the ruling class comes from its ownership of the means of production. Which of the following sets are considered means of production? We know about land and buildings, machinery and tools. We don't know about income and wage label. The answer is 1 and 2. So that is A. 11. A major difference between positivists and interpretivists is that positivists A are microtheorists while interpretivists are macrotheorists. B use case studies while interpretivists use experiments in conducting research. Positivists use quantitative research methods while interpretivists use qualitative research methods, or positivists study human behavior using qualitative methods while interpretivists study human behavior using quantitative methods. Alright, so we know that the positivists they use quantitative methods while the interpretivists use qualitative research methods. So the answer is C. Number 12. When a research method is repeatedly applied and consistently produces the same results in a study, it is said to be reliable. A sociologist who decides to research the prevalence of teenage pregnancy over various generations in a society is pursuing A case study, B, an in-depth study, C, a longitudinal study, or D, a cross-sectional study. And the answer is a longitudinal study. 14. Which of the following is not considered a strength of positivism? So which one of these would be a weakness then of positivism? Research, when you conduct research using positivism, it should be reliable, it should be objective, and it should be generalizable. So therefore the answer is reflexive. If your research is reflexive, then it will include biases. Item 15 refers to the following information. The Children of the Sun is a radical group that advocates the green revolution and eco-friendly production. It has been accused of several violent attacks against the petrochemical industry, but there is no evidence to implicate members of the group. Which of the following research techniques would be most appropriate for investigating the group? So you cannot go in there and ask them interviews or questionnaires or surveys because this group is a violent group. So therefore you would have to observe. Item 16 refers to the following diagrammatic representation of a family structure. So here we have a male and a female, they get married. They have two children, a boy and a girl. And these persons, they get married also. So the girl got married to a man and the man got married to a female. If these persons who were married to the children did not exist, this family would have been a nuclear family. But because these persons exist, we see that the family has expanded, or there's an extension to the family. And the extension is going in a horizontal way. And that is why it is a horizontally extended family. Which of the following statements does not describe social pathology in the Caribbean family? A. Family life is loose and unstable. B. Conjugal ties are often pernicious and transitory. C. The father's contact with children is regular. Or D. Children are legitimate and often unschooled. The answer is C. The father's contact with children is regular. Which of the following is a major feature of changing family structures in the Caribbean? A. Decrease in economic opportunities. B. Sexual exploitation of women. C. Decrease in household sizes. Or D. Higher life expectancy. Alright, so 18 is decreasing household size. Sorry. So number 18 is right. So number 18 is decreasing household sizes. So that is a major feature of changing family structures in the Caribbean. According to Talcott Parsons, the family structure has been transformed by two major processes. These processes are, and we know that that is industrialization and urbanization. Alright. Number 20, matrifocality in the Caribbean emerged from. Alright, so that's marriage among the enslaved who was generally prohibited. So they weren't allowed to get married. So when they had the children would stay with the woman and the woman would have authority over the family. So the following statement is not true of the Marxist perspective on religion. Alright, so Marxist does not believe that religion is a unifying force in society. So that's D. Which of the following are characteristics of a cult? 1. At variance with traditional society. 2. Strong bureaucratic structure. Or 3. Loosely organized with small exclusive membership. And the answer is 1 and 3. Which of the following may best be described as an example of ethnocentrism? Alright, so let's see. Viewing of one's religion as the only correct belief system. 24. In Caribbean societies, religion is often seen as being integrative in nature. Which sociological perspective on religion reinforces this statement? 24. That is functionalist. Remember that functionalist believes that most of these institutions help to integrate those persons in society. 25. Religion is a product of patriarchy. This statement reflects the pathological theory of the feminism. 26. Charisma. Sorry. The main technique used by leaders of sects to build their gathering is charisma and emphasis on purity of their doctrine. 27. Which of the following best explains the objective of decolonization of the Caribbean education system? So that is liberating the people's minds. 28. The Caribbean education system produces some individuals who cannot read and write sufficiently, making them unable to administer simple daily tasks. What is that called? And that is functional illiteracy. The Marxist view on education stresses that A. Education facilitates the teaching of norms and values to young people. B. Individuals acquire skills which allow them to meet societal goals. C. Society rewards individuals for hard work. Or D. Education allows the elite to dominate the society. And that is D. Education allows the elite to dominate society. 30. One of the latent functions of education can best be reflected in students learning how to obey persons in authority. That's A. The term social stratification relates to the existence of social give me a second. Alright, so 30 was A. The term 31 would have been social inequality. Alright, so 32. Which of the following systems of social stratification existed in the Caribbean prior to emancipation? So we know that prior to emancipation there would have been slavery. Stratification occurs not because it is functional, but because groups compete for scarce resources. Which sociological perspective is illustrated in this statement? That is the Marxist view. Which of the following statements relates to the functionalist theory? Stratification is universal, necessary, and inevitable. B. Stratification is an expression of the values of powerful groups. C. Changes in the stratification systems come through an evolutionary process. Or D. In market economies, classes develop from people's situations in relation to buying and selling. 34 is A. Which of the following statements relates to the conflict theory? And those are the same statements that I would have just read. Alright, so for 35, the answer is B. Stratification is an expression of the values of powerful groups. That's what Marxists believe. 36. Which of the following options best describes first class consciousness? So this is when Marx speaks about us being unaware of our interests. So the lower class, they don't want to revolt because they don't come together and say, okay, we are experiencing exploitation. 37. Marx and Weber shared similarities and differences in their views about class analysis. Which of the following views was shared between both theories? And that is D. Dominant groups control the working class. Social stratification is useful to society because it helps to, and that is allocate persons to roles for which they are best suited. Society is kept together by value consensus. Which of the following theories is associated with this view? And that is Emile Durkheim. 40. In a closed society, which determinants would least affect a person's social class? And that is education. Alright, so remember that in a closed society, the factors that really affect an individual would be those that they were born into. So their race, their skin color, their family ancestry. Mary was forced to leave school at an early age and could only obtain work as a hotel maid. She went back to school at night and eventually became an engineer at age 40. Mary's experience shows that education serves as a vehicle for, and the answer for that is intragenerational mobility, moving up the ladder within one's life cycle. 42 refers to the following information. John's father is a cleaner at a local car company. John recently attained his degree at the university and is employed as a business manager in a prestigious organization. Which of the following types of social mobility describes John's experience? So 42 is intergenerational. Lois Brathwaite's description of a plural society is evident only in, and that is heterogeneous society. Marx believed that class conflict exists in capitalist societies. Which of the following contributes to class conflict? Alright, so 44 is ownership of resources by a few. During slavery, the elites in the Caribbean were able to maintain their economic and social dominance through, and that's the use of force. Alright, so thank you for watching. If you found this video interesting and you want more videos like these, please subscribe to the channel and share to anybody else who you know will need assistance with